My name is Tim Campos. I am a high school coach in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I coach at Manzano High School. And then I also run player development in an academy that's here in the Southwest called Albuquerque Baseball Academy. It's quite a large facility here in our state. We run a throwing program there, hitting program, but I've been doing that for the last 3 years, and I've been a head coach for the last 15. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. AI, what we would basically have to do is just we would take video from the side, we'd take video from the back, we'd take video from the front, and then from that video, basically we created a qualitative assessment. Okay, and just have some basic markers that we're looking at. Starting off from the lower half, what does the back leg do? Where are they at when we think foot plant happens? Where are they at when we think max external rotation happens? What does it look like at ball release? And just going through some qualitative measures and on a checklist and kind of checking through some mechanics. Been doing this since probably 2005, going down all the way back to, I think, where a lot of people start off is at the Texas Baseball Ranch Ultimate Pitching Coaches Boot Camp. Just set me in a totally different direction, starting to working with weighted balls, starting to work with just basically the push was, if you want to improve something, you got to measure it. And so I think the transition has been really, how do I find ways to objectively measure what we're looking for in baseball, with pitching mechanics, with hitting, whatever it is, like no more subjective. I see what I see and what I think I see. I want to know if what I'm doing is actually working or not. And so that's really where it started. So creating systems within that framework, and they all have to be kind of qualitative. And when you're looking at 2D video, there's a lot of subjectivity to it, but I think where the threshold comes in, or the barrier of entry comes in, is you have to have a ton of experience. Like, you have to look at countless number of videos, really, and then get a good qualitative assessment figured out, and then know what you're looking at, know what to change, what not to change. And that's what really led me to PitchAI. With PitchAI, so it was really a missing piece. Okay, so when a young man would come into my high school or into Albuquerque Baseball Academy, and we were getting ready to just start our process. Obviously, we start off with a physical assessment. Kids go through Spiegel Sport and Spine here, and they do a full range of motion. They do a battery of range of motions. Just basically, hey, let's look at this race car. Are the tires all aired up? Are the shocks right? Do we got struts? What does the frame look like? They would go through that, and then they would go through a strength assessment. Where do they at on that spectrum? Are they general physical preparedness type stuff, movement based, or are they, do we need to be more specific? And then we go through on the baseball side. And really on the baseball side was, on the pitching side was getting their, taking a look at their mechanics, taking a look at their throwing efficiency. And really where the missing piece for me was, I was looking at this stuff through 2D video, trying to gain perspectives from 3 different camera angles, even trying to be creative with some overhead stuff, but was really having a hard time objectively putting, a number to things and really showing. You could show improvements, but you really had to be fine-tuned to what you were looking for, and to coach my coaches, to teach my other coaches what to look for. So now it's just not me. I need to have a battery of coaches that can do this. Well, enter PitchAI, looking through this lens now, I've got a mechanism to where I can actually get objective data, because I've got a reliable tool that's going to give me both the kinematic sequence. It's going to give me kinetics. It's going to give me kinematics. It's going to give me all that all into one. And now I can, when I'm doing my qualitative assessment, I can actually put numbers to things, and I can objectively kind of show, hey, look at how much you've improved here. You can really look at the different parts of our qualitative assessment and not just hit a check mark. It's more of a like numerical factors, like, hey, look at where you were at before and look at where you're at now. You know, look at how far your arm was out at foot plant now, and look at, you know, now you're actually inside 90 and you're maintaining that through a max external rotation. So that's a more efficient move. So I think the first thing I look at is generally the concept or the kind of methodology that I go through is backwards chaining. It's been a concept around for years. I learned it way back in 2005, and so when I look at backwards chaining, we'll usually start with the arm action. Now, when I'm teaching stuff, I usually start from the ground up, but when I'm looking at an assessment, I start with, you know, what's going on with the arm. Is it, you know, where are we at in regards to foot plant? Are we at 90? Are we inside 90? Are we outside 90? How is that affecting, I group that with how's that affecting their stress on their arm. So, you know, we'll get a modus stress to pair with this, and we'll say, okay, so what's their stress level where they're at? Is it something that we need to address? Is it something we need to leave alone? Because that's really the key piece, is what to address and what to leave alone. I think too often we're in a rush to coach and to change something, whereas, you know, I want to seek efficiencies. So I start with the arm action. I look at that, and with PitchAI, it has a few new cool metrics with efficiency, deception, arm path. You know, so now I can really look at some really cool features within there that I can get some better comparisons, more global macro projections. I mean, objective measures that we can look at, which is very helpful. But what I'm seeing, obviously it's a big buzzword right now, is lead leg block or lead leg stability, all those things, but that is generally a good indication of what's happening from the start. So I like looking at that lead leg stability. I like looking to see, because if their lead knee is continuing to extend after foot plant, that tells me maybe they're not rotating their hips, they're getting too linear, they're leaking energy. And so it's a good metric to look at, because it tells you a lot of information. It leaves you the clues to where to look. And so if you see, you know, the lead leg block, how the lead leg is coming down, are they landing from foot plant from above? Are they sticking and internally rotating? I can see what type of player those kids are. Then I can go back and look at the hardware. Is it range of motion problems? Is it strength problem? Is it just, you know, a skill, like a movement solution that I need to create? But having that information objectively with what the ProPlayAI is doing, that really helps. It's a key indicator to where I know what to look for. And so I would say that's the one thing I look for a lot, is to see what's happening there, because it tells me, again, are we too linear? Do we have enough? Are we getting are we absorbing enough? I mean, not absorbing, are we not leaking any energy? And then it gives me clues to where to look. The key thing, I think, where it's going to help is it gives players and coaches a tool to basically test and retest, assess and reassess, and really have some objective data to make improvements, and or to gauge when you're getting off track. You know, let's say that you're feeling good, all of a sudden you're starting to get some pain. Let's take a look at the video, and you can actually see, well, look, I'm getting, I'm leaking energy here, or maybe I'm getting too linear here, or maybe my arm's leaking out a little bit too early. Like you have something to measure against. And so I think where it's going to really change the game and really make things efficient is it just gives us a tool where we have a kind of a biomechanics lab in a box at your hands at the ready. And I mean, you can do it in game. There's the amount of creativity that's going to take place with the coaches and the amount of the amazing coaches that we have out here in this country. I can't wait to see what processes, what people come up with, because there's infinite ways to use it. There's people that are going to get really granular and, really use it. They could use it inning to inning to tell if they're fatiguing. There's a lot of different ways that you could use this, but I'm excited for just because the tool is available now I go back to, again, 2005, when Ron had stated, when for like 1,000 years, everybody thought the Earth was the center of the universe. Once they figured out that it was not the sun, it was just a part of the universe. The science was able to develop so much more rapidly from once they understood that concept. So now, with a concept like motion capture that we're able to see on a more ready basis, I think we're just going to move a lot quicker into finding some more answers. Because really the holy grail, right, is injury prevention. And performance, the two things. The thing about injury prevention is everyone is afraid that when we're building these huge, massive engines, right, we got all these kids that are starting to gain velocity like crazy with the advent of weighted balls, the advent of strength training, all these things that are getting really, really efficient, but we're still getting guys hurt. And there's nothing more gut-wrenching than when a kid walks up to you and says, "Hey coach, I'm hurting right here on this part." And your soul sinks. And so having tools to where we as a coaching community can really advance that and start finding some real answers. That's what excites me. And I think that's what really the potential of this, pairing this stuff with other technologies out there and getting our coaches out there to become really creative and create some awesome processes and collect some really good data. I'm just excited for what's going to happen. I know we're going to be, as a community, way better coaches in the next 6 months than we were now. And that's exciting.